So I thought I'd share my testimony about praying in tongues because I feel there's a lot of things, like I said, that you should be able to pray in tongues. Everyone should be able to pray in tongues, but not a lot of testimonies of how it happened for them. So I thought I'd do this video. I don't want to cause any kind of arguments between doctrines. You've clicked on this video. Is probably because you're interested in the in praying in tongues. I know there's a lot of confusion, but that's not the point of the video. The difference between speaking in tongues and praying in tongues, and it causes so much confusion. But you've clicked in this video because you're curious, and that is it. I'm not about to rip apart people's doctrines or anything like that. It's up to you if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, there are benefits to it and why you should do it, but that's not the point of this video. So for me, it wasn't something that happened straight away. So I'm from a Pentecostal. Well, when I was young, basically you wouldn't know my testimony anyway. But I'm currently in a Pentecostal church. So obviously, if you've never been into a Pentecostal church, there's a lot of that doctrine is a lot heavy on the spiritual gifts as well as speaking in tongues. So anyway, so if you're wondering, I've been a born again Christian now for around probably just over 8 months now, and then I got baptized in November, but I came to Christ in August. Anyway, so how this happened was I felt that God wanted me to speak in tongues anyway, because a lot of things were directed at me to speak in tongues, and so there's that. There was a situation as well, like 2 weeks ago, where so I don't know if I mentioned before, but our church has home churches as well, like every other week. So when it's a home church, it's not like a normal like church service, it's a home church service. Anyway, so we were in the group and we were worshipping and stuff. Someone saw a vision. It led to being speaking in tongues, which was asked if I could speak tongues, and I couldn't. But anyway, so that moment then, that was 2 weeks ago, they actually prayed for me to be able to speak in tongues. So if that might be beneficial. But even then, before then, I just felt that the Lord was, he was trying to let me know do not be afraid about praying in tongues. So this is Thursday night. So Thursday night, basically I started a new course called what's it called again? I haven't got the book at hand. Basically it's a bit like a Christian, like kind of what do you call it, counselling kind of thing, but there's like a group of us. I was surprised, like from the first session I was pleasantly surprised how informative and how I'm going to find the rest of the course really helpful. Anyway, so I got home, had a shower and everything, and then a video popped up about from Isaiah Salvador. You may or may not know and he did a live video praying in tongues, and this is like an hour ago, so it was already like uploading stuff, so it wasn't live. And that was at that moment I was like, I'm gonna do it. At that time it was like 10:30, and I was like, okay, I can either just not bother and do it tomorrow, knowing I probably won't do it tomorrow, or I'm gonna get focused and I'm gonna ask God to to send his fire of the Holy Spirit so I can pray in tongues. So that's when I was like, you know what, if I end up going to bed late, I end up going to bed late. I have work the next day. I usually go to the gym before, so I skip up at 5 o'clock. But I thought, you know what, forget that. This is more important. I was like, I'm not gonna move from the spot until I'm actually gonna be able to pray in tongues. So I have done in the past, asked, but this is where my testimony is kind of a bit different, where you have to it's not like a little, for me anyway, it wasn't like a let's slip it into a prayer and ask for it. It was like leave a section off to actually pray for it. So that was basically all I was praying. I was basically praising the Lord at the same time and asking him, fill me with the Holy Spirit so I can pray to you, so I can pray in tongues, do what you did to me when do it at Pentecost. He did at Pentecost. That's in the book of Acts. Do the same to me, that sort of thing. So what kind of happened is I felt kind of, I don't know how to explain it. I'm really bad at explaining things, but I kind of felt that something was like, things were happening basically in my tummy area. And I started to kind of make like, so as I went praying in English, I started to kind of make syllables, and I was saying, you know, Lord, use my voice, use my tongue. So I was starting to make syllables, and then at that time my tongue, I kind of got like this tingling feeling in my tongue area, sort of in my mouth but more so in my tongues. And then I started, I mean, I don't know if you'd call it like a word necessarily, but or maybe phrases that were kind of like, you know, not English. And then in between that, I was like praying in English and basically praising him. And it got to the point where I got halfway in the praising him in English, where my tongue was like, yeah, we're gonna do totally something totally different. And that's when I started praying in tongues. And yeah, I was like, okay, that was the moment where I started praying in tongues. It literally just came out. It just came out, and you know, that was that. I stopped, and then I did it again. I just felt like maybe it was the Holy Spirit telling me I'm not done yet. Keep praying in tongues. So I kept praying in tongues, and then I eventually stopped, and I was like, wow, I just prayed in tongues. And then I did it again the next day. So, you know, because I was a little bit worried. Oh, okay, is this just gonna be a one time thing? No, it's not a one time thing at all. Once you've got it, that you're gonna be able to do it automatically. You're gonna automatically pray in tongues, because I know that was kind of a question, and with me that I was thinking, if I do it one time, I'm gonna be able to, yeah, you're gonna do it so easily the next time. So that's basically how, um, you know, how I kind of ended up in the end being able to pray in tongues. So if you're kind of, so my kind of advice would be, just leave a time where you just pray and ask the Lord to just fill you with the Holy Spirit. And for me, it took around, I want to say just under half an hour before I like fully was praying in tongues. So it could literally take 5 minutes. Like, there's some people that come as soon as they come to Christ, and they can speak in tongues. It's different from person to person, but for me it took like half an hour, just asking, and basically asking for it, and it was around just under half an hour I could fully speak in tongues. So do bear that in mind. Sometimes it's not something where you can just ask in prayer for like 5 minutes. Sometimes you do have to literally press and ask him, or sometimes it might not happen that time, but try again, and then try again and try again, basically. But that is basically my testimony on you know, how God gave me like, you know, gave me this ability, which, from, if you're wondering, from my belief, that I believe that everyone can speak in tongues. You don't have to if you don't want to. That's the thing, you don't have to if you don't want to, but it's there. Like, just ask God, it is there. So yeah.